Welcome to episode 2 of Equity Shares. Uh, Today's episode is about generational wealth. I know it's a common term that's often used about being able to pass on something to the next generation and hopefully multiple generations of wealth and assets and income producing assets, so they don't have to deal with the same burdens that you or your relatives had to deal with growing up. So today I'm going to talk about a few things that I think are important to building generational wealth. And we all have to start somewhere. I am in process of building generational wealth. And I think the job and the journey is never done. And what I've learned both personally and professionally is what I want to share with you guys today. So the first step in generational or building generational wealth has a lot to do with how you start off by being a good steward of your funds, and how you manage money, how you manage debt. Because some of the worst things that you can do is pass on your debts to your relatives, or not being able to pass on enough of what you've built because you built and generated too much debt. So I think number one, make sure you manage your personal funds well. Make sure you try to eliminate or reduce as much debt as possible. So that way, once you transition, you have assets that you can pass down without it being a burden to your family. The other part is life insurance, making sure that you set up some type of life insurance plan, not only with your employer, but also having a separate life insurance just in case for some odd reason something goes wrong with your employer. So term life insurance, I think, is always a good way to help build generational wealth. Just in personal experience, I've seen the unexpected happen, and you always want to be prepared in case something happens. How will my family be able to operate without me being there? How will, do they have something to supplement my income if I'm no longer here? Could I help them by reducing their debt or their burdens by passing on life insurance proceeds to help them pay off any debt, so that way they can live a life that's not full of burden? So we don't want to talk about life insurance a lot because we fear the unexpected might happen, but it's very, very important for you to have that risk protection set up. And most of the time, the cost is very minimal for term life insurance, for you to have some type of protection if something were to happen to you or a relative. The other thing that's important is that comes up, especially when you're building a family, is saving for college. I can think about, me personally. I started saving for my daughter and also my son before they were born. So my wife was pregnant, and I immediately set up a college savings plan. Even though I started off small, saving up as little as I can, I found out I still wasn't saving up enough because of the rising costs in college education. So the earlier you start, the better. The thing about college savings, you can pass that. If let's say your child gets a scholarship, you can pass it to your next child. You can pass it to your nephew. You can always pass those proceeds to another individual to use for college savings without any penalties. And all that growth that you have in those college savings plans are tax-free growth. So that's a major benefit of you being able to grow, assets to pay for that education. And the benefit of having a college savings will help prompt and build generational wealth, because your child won't have the burden of having student loans or debt that's outstanding when they graduate from college. And that's a head start that maybe you didn't have, or maybe someone in your family didn't have, and that can propel you to building wealth much sooner. The other key important topic is just acquiring income producing assets as early as possible. Meaning that you can acquire, real estate, setting money aside in some type of investment, and that can be with a E-Trade, a Robinhood, but setting yourself up, and even starting a business, starting some type of business that produces income and building wealth early is a major benefit to you in the long term and also your family in the long term. The other thing is just plan ahead. Think about all the different things that you have planned, your family might have planned, and that includes like paying for weddings, paying for car expenses. Thinking about all the different large item purchases that you plan to make over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. A lot of times that we struggle when thinking long term, and we only see what's going on today. And I think it's very important to think about, how are you going to prepare yourself financially to be able to replace a car or buy a new house or pay for a wedding because your daughter decides to get married, hopefully when she's 30, 35, but maybe she decides to get married at 25. Will you be ready to help her with some of those expenses, or will those be her expenses? And again, as we think about building generational wealth and making sure that each generation has a head start, that's how you can help prepare yourself and them for the future. The other thing is teaching kids about financial literacy. Making sure that you have those discussions. I think in a lot of households, especially households where there is not a consistent conversation about how to manage money, I think it's important that we each have those conversations, that we talk about how to manage a budget, how to prepare for the unexpected, what the benefits are from comparison shopping, and making sure we fully understand that we're getting the value for whatever we're spending. And just being diligent, because kids not only watch what you do, they watch what you say, they watch how you interact. And I think it's important that we teach them as much as we can. One of the major benefits that I've seen, both personally and professionally, is I see a lot of entrepreneurs that allow their kids to watch what they do and to be with them while they're doing it. So if you own an investment property, or if you own, a business in general, teach the kids about the business as early as possible, because those kids can develop skill sets early that can benefit them in the long run. And that, again, is another seed planted for helping build generational wealth. If you plan or hope to sell or pass your business to your kids, at least they built knowledge up enough to understand, okay, this is how the industry works. These are the things that my mom or dad did really well. And these are the things that, if they could have, that I would have done differently to help improve, how they ran their business. And I've seen that reap tons of benefits to a lot of family-owned, privately held businesses. And that's very important. And I think we discount, educating our kids about entrepreneurship, or educating our kids about, accounting and understanding the benefits of having a good accountant and knowing the CPA and knowing how you're going to manage those funds once you have and own that business. The other key point that I wanted to talk about with building generational wealth is just making sure that you have your finances in order in case something were to happen. One item that I think is extremely important is setting up a trust, because that has a lot to do with how you're going to pass your assets, to that next generation. And a trust is very, it includes a will. So it's basically you will detail out how you plan to pass on each asset to your kids, and who'll manage your assets in case you have a disability. And thinking about all those different scenarios will make your kid's life and your relatives' life, if they have to take care of you, or if they have to manage your estate, it'll make it much easier if you have a detailed plan, and if you spell out what you have and where it is and who will get those assets in case something happens. And so, as you're working through your plan, as you're in process of building, this is how I want to set up the next generation, just make sure that trust is included in that process. Make sure you consult with an attorney to discuss, how you want to build that trust, how much it costs to set up a trust or a will. But make sure you get it done. I think we put off a lot of what needs to be done, not thinking it's as important because we're either young in our minds, or we feel like it's something that we can handle once we get a little bit older. But the earlier you get it done, the better it'll be for you and for those to come. So keep working, keep making sure you push to push your plan. Make sure you have your key points in order to build generational wealth. Start with yourself first. How you manage your money, how you manage your debt. Do you have a life insurance plan? Are you educating your kids on how to do what you do, or just how to manage their passion? Because a lot of people have a passion, but they don't have a business background. Or a lot of people have, a good idea, but they don't know how to manage a budget or anything about accounting or who they would contact to get support around how to manage money. And so I think it's very, very important to start that early, make introductions, talk about what you do and who does what, so that way they have a head start in building that generational wealth. And building generational wealth is not just a slogan or something that should just be thrown out lightly. It's a constant process. And you do have to start small, whether you're contributing $25 a month, $50 a month, but you have to be contributing something consistently. That way you can build up a nest egg so you can do all those things that you want to do and be able to pass something on to the next generation. So I just wanted to take this time to kind of share a few things that I thought were helpful. Hopefully you all have enjoyed today's equity shares, and please comment, like, share this video, because I think it's important for us to share as much information as possible to help kind of grow our knowledge around financial literacy. So thank you for watching Equity Shares, and I look forward to you guys tuning in next time. Take care. Thank you for watching The Equity Partner. My name is Jeff Marshall. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please like the video and share it. And we look forward to bringing you guys more content. Take care.